Hello everybody, welcome to this channel. In this video, I would like to give a brief overview about that SAP data products. So before going to the what is a data product, first we would like to understand what are the current challenges customers are facing when they're accessing the data across the SAP systems. The currently customers face challenges when accessing and using a data for various purposes. The purpose could be building a new application or integration of our systems or building a dashboards or developing a AI models. The process of finding a relevant data is difficult. Why? Because it's lack of consistency and clarity in the APIs that expose the data and metadata. Often, metadata describes only technical aspects. For a business people, it is quite hard to understand it. And sometimes some necessary metadata is it not available via APIs. To improve this, the consistent metadata exposed by data product will allow for a landscape specific data products or you call it as a domain specific data products. So now from a BDC point of view, data product is a building block. Now as you see in the diagram, it caters different aspects. What are those? One is like it contains business data sets and which are like well described, and these things can be easily consumable, and also these things are easily discoverable. Now comes to the data. First thing, what is a business data set? So business dataset is nothing but it consists of one or more business object entities. Now let's see what is a business dataset. The business dataset consists of one or more business objects. Like it could be entities and the corresponding objects and analytical data. It could be, you might know analytical data point of view. It could be measures, dimensions, or sometimes it is like text tables or configuration tables, and sometimes it is documents. If it is if a data source is more of a like graph databases, then you see graph data and the spatial data, things like that. The next one is how well we can consume this data and what are the different mechanisms. So from a consumption point of view, with via APIs, we can consume it, or sometimes it is like more of a events. Now comes to the APIs. There are supported APIs like it could be SQL APIs, SQL way of exposing the data, or sometimes if you see from a big data world, there is something called a delta sharing. You can share this data via delta share protocol. And also sometimes you can expose this thing via REST APIs or OData. Now comes to the describe, how well describes, what are the things would be there from this area. So when you see the data product with the metadata that is of high quality and provides via ORD format. What is this ORD format? Open Resource Discovery. This is the format we follow or SAP follows when they're building these data products. Now, how can you discover these data products? So there is a two ways to discover the data products. One is like within the BDC landscape, and the second one is like as a whole from a customer point of view, how can you discover these data products? From a BDC point of view, in the system, there is something called a BDC cockpit catalog. From this catalog, you can discover all the data products which are available as part of your landscape. And from a outside point of view, there is something called a business accelerator hub. Using this tool, you can see from a LOB point of view what are the data products are released by SAP from each LOB point of view. Okay, so that is about the data product. Now comes to what are the different types of data products are there. Now we'll see what are the different types of data products are there. So here there are two types of data products are there. There are two types of data products. There are two types of data products. What are those? One is SAP managed data products, and second one is customer managed data products. Now let's first discuss about SAP managed data products. Data products from S4 HANA PC. I hope you know what is S4 HANA PC, right? S4 HANA PC is nothing but a private cloud. Now comes to the data products. What are the different types of SAP managed? Again, in SAP managed data product, there is a different types. One is primary data product, and second one is derived data product. Now comes to what is a primary data product. So SAP delivers primary data products based on a CDS views, which are part of a S4 private cloud. So first, before building a data product, especially for source is S4 HANA, first you need to create a CDS view. So how we create a CDS view? We will create a CDS view based on the underlying S4 table. The source is first S4 table. On top of that, we need to create a CDS view, and the CDS view you can enable the CDC mechanism. If a CDC mechanism is there, you can do a change. It works based on the CDC. It is change data capture technology, especially when you try to retrieve the deltas, or if you need a deltas based on your if you need a deltas on top of your data product, then you can enable the CDC mechanism. Once the CDS view is there, then what you can do, you can build a data product. So that is how SAP is doing it. So they have a existing CDS views on top of their tables. If there is no CDS view is there, they create a CDS view on top of their underlying application tables. From there, on top of that, they create a data products. So that is how we call it as a primary data products. So in short, primary data products are the products created on top of a CDS view. And then how you can consume these things? So they create a API endpoint on top of this data product, so customer can consume this via API endpoints. And also SAP provides a documentation about this data product. What is each data product, and what is the purpose of the data product? What is the underlying CDS view, and if you open the underlying CDS view, what is the underlying table is there, and what are the columns are there? All those things you can see it in the Business Accelerator Hub. Let me show you how you can see it in the Business Accelerator Hub. Now, if you see, this is a SAP Business Accelerator Hub. Any customer or every customer can access this. If you see here, we have something called a data products. Click on this data products tab. Now, if you see here, SAP has released so far 312 data products. These data products, we call them as SAP managed data products. Let's assume I want to see data product like cost center. Let me see, is there any cost center data product? Okay, let me see. Okay, I can see here there is a cost center data product. Now let me open it. How you can see what are the details SAP is providing. Okay, it is taking a couple of minutes. Now if you see here, this is a cost center data product. Here they have given the introduction, a cost, okay, introduction about this data product and what is the type of the data product. Is it a primary data product or a derived data product? As I mentioned, okay, what is the version of it, when they got last modified it, and what is responsible area, okay, and what is a category? It is a business object, and you can see fully qualified name, or that we call it as a ORD. I told you, right? ORD. So this is a ORD ID details, and what is the status, whether it is an active data product or inactive data product. And also here you can see what is the industries, different process and products, which product. You can see sometimes the data product coming from only one product. Here you see it is coming from both, or it is valid for both public edition as well as the private edition of S4. Sorry. And then what is the area? What is LOB? It's a finance. Now if you see here, what is the output port? I told you, right? So what is the output port? Here it is a API. What is the kind of API? It's a delta sharing API. And what are the business objects? Business objects are nothing but underlying objects. One is a cost center and second one is a cost center hierarchy. Let me go inside cost center. Now again you see the cost center SAP master data integration. What is the thing? What is a cost center is there, and what are the different types? REST API, OData format, SOAP. So there is a different types from a APIs point of view. What are the different supported APIs? You can see all the details here. So now comes to the pack. So we have seen from a business accelerator hub how to see data product and what are the properties of the data product and the type of the data product, right? So that is how you can see it from a business accelerator. Now let's move on. Now next one is derived data product. First one is primary data product, we learned, right? Now derived data product. Derived data product from a SAP managed point of view. So for a derived data product, the base should be a primary data product or a derived data product. It shouldn't be a table or a CDS view. So that is a restriction or a rule you can consider. If a customer needs to create, or if a derived data product, if you see it, the source for the derived data product is again either it is a primary data product or a derived data product. So that is the difference between the primary data product and the derived data product. I hope it's clear for you all. And when you create a derived data product, the primary data product can be coming from a different LOBs as well. Okay, it need not be coming from a same LOB. The sources for the derived data product can be coming from a multiple LOBs as well. Now comes to next one is custom data product. Custom data products. Let's assume the case. SAP is delivering close to 300 plus data products as of today. But sometimes customer thinks like, okay, what are the data products they are looking SAP hasn't delivered yet. In that case, how to proceed further? In that case, SAP is giving a provision to create their own data products, that we call it as a custom data product. Okay. Now, where to create it? Now they should be having some tool to create a custom data products, right? As of today, using a data sphere, SAP data sphere, customer can create a custom data products. Okay. So how to create it? Uh, in this video, because this is an introduction video, right? So what I say, I'll just high level, I'll explain it. In further videos, I'll show you step by step in the system how to create a custom data product. Now in high level, what you need to do, which tool you need to use, we have something called a SAP data sphere. So on this one, more about the custom data products. So again, custom data products, again, two types. Two types. One is primary custom DPs. Second one is derived custom DP. Now, what is the tool I mentioned? DataSphere is the tool. How to do it? There is a first step. You need to bring the data into DataSphere from your source system. Bring the data into DSP from source system. Okay, now in the DSP, there is a concept called a space. Maybe I'll explain you in detail later. Now just remember there is something called a object store space. Just ignore me if there is any spelling mistakes. Object store space. How to get it? Using a replication flows. Once the data is there, you can create a using transformation flow. You can create a derived data product. So that is how customer can create. Sorry again. This is a using a transformation flow. You can create a primary custom data product. If you want to if you want to create a derived custom data product, what you can do, what are the data product you have created as a primary, you can use that primary as a source for your derived data product, and then you can build it. So that is all about the custom data product. But going forward, SAP is coming with a tool called a data product studio. So we had to see it. If you see in a YouTube, there is a couple of videos on that data product studio. Now the final one is about what. Now again, come back to SAP managed data product. SAP managed data product. Now we have seen about the concept, what is a SAP managed data product and custom managed data product. Now we'll understand while installation of this data product, what happens, especially from a SAP managed data product. If user or a customer or end user or a customer installs a SAP managed data product, there are two ways to install it. One is via BDC cockpit, they can install a data product, or using a data sphere cockpit, they can install a data product. Maybe in the next slides, I will show you in a system how can you install a data product. Now, just it's a concept wise, I am trying to explain you. So once you install, let's assume I have installed it. Install SAP managed data product. SAP data product. What happens? What will happen? It brings the data brings data from source to BDC. And in BDC, we know there is something called foundation service, right? Or you yesterday in the previous video, I told about the object store. So what happens? The data comes and sits in the object store. In this object store, they have implemented something called a medallion architecture. Like as you have seen in a big data world, there is something called a bronze, silver, gold layer, right? So here also SAP is also maintaining this medallion architecture. What happens? The data comes from a source system to BDC in the form of a Parquet files. The data comes and sits in the acquisition layer first, and from there the data moves to the bronze layer, and then from there to silver and gold layer. In there it forms a delta table. We call it as a delta table. Once the data is there either in a silver layer or a gold layer, then the data is ready for the consumption in the next layers. So this is all about the data products. If you have any doubts, you can ask me questions in the comment section. And also if you'd like to know more specific about product, you can also ask that question in the comment section. So thank you all. Now in the next videos, I will discuss about the intelligent content delivered by SAP. That's all from this video. Thank you all.